What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. It has been an absolutely crazy weekend in the Premier League, from VAR debacles to nasty red cards, crazy challenges, ridiculous results, shocking results, and I'm glad I was here for all of it. Well, most of it at least. But hey, right out the gate, go ahead and get the likes up on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for being here. Of course, thanks for listening. Only one place to start, gentlemen, and it is the game, the lovely, beautiful game we've just seen. Let me switch that up. That was huge because it is indeed a huge result. Patrick, victory.
It
What are
was
you telling me?
You know, selfishly, I was kind of hoping it would finish 2-1 so I could get the prediction right.
Hey, but we'll take a 4-1.
But we'll take a 4-1. And, you know, somebody mentioned something on Twitter after the game, and I've been thinking about it ever since. You know, I said in the chat, between us that I wasn't confident that we were going to hold on. And,
I remember that, yeah.
And, I was sitting there thinking, like, why is that? And then somebody made a mention of the team is so young that they're naive, that they'll shut off because they're like, oh, it's done. And I literally said, stop playing like it's over, because that's how they played. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that does make a good bit of sense, because when you're young, you think, oh, we got this, we're good, and I think some of that attitude happened against Brentford, honestly. And it wasn't just the players. I think it was also Pochettino with his lineup and everything. So to see the lineup he put out today, I was quite pleased. I'm still trying to figure out how we really need to work that back line. There's something missing. Like, I thought Silva played well for the time that he did play. Decimate has a little bit of a nonchalantness to him when it comes to being on the ball, and it's a little scary at times.
Well, look who's standing next to him.
Yes,
Mr. Casual. That's Mr. Casual himself.
This is true. So, but the game itself, I felt like, people are talking about, oh, Spurs dominated right away, and that felt kind of like a little bit of a sucker punch, their first goal, because I thought that we had a pretty good move forward, and I liked how MVC broke it down after, talking about how Chelsea was pinching the sides, and it left the middle of the field wide open for them to play a ball right to the center of the pitch. And then Chelsea, of course, converges, and it opens up the outside like crazy. So I think that was sort of a tactical issue, more so than anything. But before everything kind of popped off, I felt like we were really starting to kind of get into a groove. They were going to play a high line either way. Maybe not as high as they ended up playing, but they were going to play a high line either way. And, Sterling was getting after it, for sure. I hate that was a handball, but it was. I mean, clearly, there's nothing you could do there. Like, I mean, just the way he runs, it's like.
Well, if Jackson would have been there to put it in instead of Sterling, it might have been okay. It was one of those, because the reason they called it back was because Sterling himself scored the goal. You can't accidentally handball it and then benefit and score the goal, Yeah. But if someone else did, it would have been more of a decision. But yeah, I agree. Definitely a handball.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a little frustrating, but it's a handball. I don't argue against it at all. But Romero I'm trying to remember who I can best compare him to recently, who is just so reckless on tackles.
Lisandro Martinez.
He's Argentinian too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so reckless. He injured himself from how I haven't seen him in months since that tackle that he's tried and injured himself on. Because he was so aggressive on it and he hasn't been back. But yeah,
Yeah. So
Romero's a clown. That was crazy. I'm actually kind of shocked. Spurs have not done anything this Spursy all season.
no, but again, when they play Chelsea, there is something about playing us.
It's a derby, man.
Well, it's a derby for sure, but they didn't play like that against Arsenal.
But Arsenal also was confident, and Chelsea is like, so they probably went in more confident against you all than they did Arsenal.
Yeah, but if you were confident, you don't have to be making last-ditch tackles. And, I mean...
But it's the reaction of, I'm supposed to be winning, and then, holy crap, they're beating.
But they were winning at the time.
But it's you want to punch him in the face, man. It's the emotion of it.
Also, right from the rip, though, like literally from the kickoff, I was like, my first thought was Chelsea are up for this because you could see they were at it immediately, putting them under deep into, and then 3-4 minutes in, Spurs are like, oh, it's like that. And then matched that energy, and it never came down. It never came back down.
No.
Which, I mean, for the neutral and even more so for me, it was fantastic. But, I mean, again, to have the game so punctuated and we're obviously going to talk about VAR on this episode, obviously. But from this, at this point, I mean, this game was... It's so hard to. There was no fluidity, no continuity, no flow, no like. It was just so dirty, and I'm honestly like surprised. Now, last season I wouldn't have been surprised to see Spurs doing some stupid stuff like this, but I'm surprised that maybe the occasion just got to him. Maybe the fact that it's Chelsea are coming in for revenge after Romero's done him last time and didn't get punished for it.
Yeah.
And so now I guess he thinks he can get away with it. Like the kick out for me. Look, if Rodri shadow choking somebody gets a 3-match ban, because let's be honest, Rodri didn't go in, like Hulk Hogan and do anything really crazy. He just he did this,
Yeah.
If that is a red card, then Romero kicking out and this whole argument about force, about, he didn't kick him hard enough.
I don't care.
What?
That's petulance.
Joe Linton's arms weren't extended hard enough into Gabriel. Get out of here. So that for me is a red card to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think that really in the beginning of the game, y'all were under it a bit as far as the actual game. The first 15 minutes or so, they were definitely able to pass around well. But I think it was real high energy. They did work through the press, but I think from the Udogie tackle, it wasn't a game. After that, it was a brawl after that.
Yeah.
Which I also think the first Udogie tackle should have been a red.
Yeah.
This whole thing about, he hasn't actually hit him or he hasn't hit him hard enough.
It's intent.
You can see that intent there. Like I said right before we got on about feeling like I need to analyze things from how people deserve stuff. That tackle was intending to hurt someone.
Yeah.
You called it in the Romero challenge, second one, because he did hurt someone.
Yeah.
And he did connect with it.
The same after that.
No, he's absolutely no. Enzo's lucky, honestly, to walk away from that.
Yeah.
And just like they were saying again, we'll call out NBC, just like Robbie Musso was saying, he winds up and you can see the grimace on his face. He's like going and he winds his foot up to smash that. Now you can maybe argue that he thought the other player was he thought Enzo was going to come in as hard, and I understand that if you don't go in for challenges hard, you can sometimes hurt yourself as well. especially if the other person goes in hard. So I get that, but this is far beyond that. That one was far beyond it.
If you know Enzo, which you would think Romero would, Enzo's not taking that shot. He's gonna gather the ball and he's gonna lay it off to somebody. So you're just putting yourself out there to not only injure but also to be sent off at that point. So I don't know, but I will say first off, the Caicedo goal that was not a goal was fantastic. I thought he played really, really well today. Obviously, it was only against 9 for some of it, but beforehand, I thought he was pretty good. I think he's just improving and working himself more so into the team, and we're starting to see, why the price tag was what it was to get him. Not saying he's playing to that level by any means, but why, you could see the talent, you could see the ability. So I like to look at individual performances, of course, collectively as a team, but I'm also watching specific players. Are they positioned right? Are they getting pushed off the ball? What exactly? What are they doing in the moment? So I like the shot he took. Of course, Palmer, that's a freaking rocket because Vicario saves that if it's not hard, because he got a hand on it. And, but
I love how no one saw an angle of Jackson actually being in the line of sight for that goal.
I know, right?
We only saw the side angle, never the angle. Was he actually? There was just so much crap that happened, so much craziness that happened in this game.
Thing, like when they what was it? When they were looking at the Dyer goal to see if he's off, you saw them like zoom in on a guy who's clearly not holding him on. Like it's not even close. So you're like, what is VAR looking at here?
Yeah, I was shocked by that too.
But that said, second half, I thought the Spurs would come out a little bit more subdued. But then Udogie, I mean, I get it. You're a defender. You made a play on the ball. You don't want him to get back to it. But one, you're pretty much last defender, first off. And two, you're on a yellow. And you could tell, I will give him this. You could tell that he realized he screwed up as soon as he made that tackle. Like, you could tell. Romero didn't. Romero's like, whatever. He's like, I got away with it.
He's a bug.
You could tell Udogie's like, yeah, I screwed up. But I think that we were a little bit surprised by how high of a line they were playing.
I agree. I think it took you a minute to adjust to it, but credit to Jackson, because you notice on his second goal, he started his run deeper.
Yep.
And hey, I said it. I literally put it in the chat right before Cuckoo. I think when Cuckoo broke the line the first time, it was like light bulb.
Yeah, exactly.
Because y'all were getting in after that.
Oh yeah.
Finally figured it out.
Who plays that off? That's an easy goal. I
played when I was in high school at the Academic Magnet High School in Charleston, South Carolina. We played against a team called Burke High School, who held their offsides trap at the halfway line the whole game. We were offsides about 25 times. We won 10-0. We won 10-0. But we were offsides so many times. And I was watching that. I was like, oh, that looks like Spurs looking like Burke High School out here. Yeah, I mean, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. I'm not saying that. I'm not like trying to say that they're awful because they tried to play this high line. I just think it's interesting, and it's certainly a gamble. And it's cool that I think it's cool that Postecoglou was like, yeah, we're sticking to that no matter what. That is what it is. What's up, X?
We were only offside 7 times. I'm shocked. It felt like 20.
Right?
It really did.
X would have loved playing against that offsides trap.
Oh my God, that's what I'm talking about. Just let me run. Just let me run.
Just FIFA goals all day. FIFA
let me run,
tap-ins
and if
all
I
day.
outrun you, it's tap-ins all day. Yep.
Well, it was Emerson Royale and Eric Dyer Eric Dyer trying to chase Jackson was like you said, Patrick. That was you that put that in the chat, right, Patrick?
It was fun.
Fantastic
He's
stuff.
nowhere near him.
Now, as we pause on that, like Jackson should have had like 17 goals, though, man.
He really
He
should.
definitely
Should have had 17 goals.
6 or 7 for sure, man.
Yeah.
But truthfully, he should have had
my
5.
thing, I get wanting the hat trick too, but I just want to like the biggest rub that I took away from our offense in this game was sure finishing, but missing open chances. But they knew they had a lot, so it was like they were just kind of having a day of it there for a minute. They were like, "Oh, we know we're getting these." But Mudryk was so unselfish in his one-on-ones, and Jackson was not. He had.
You're gonna come on, and the first thing you said is this unselfish.
Unselfish. Jackson had
Selfish
Jackson been
mother.
unselfish. We would have had 6 goals. The tap in for Sterling twice. The tap in for Connor once. Like it's just, bro. If you're having a problem finishing tonight, just lay it off. Like I know how upset I would be as the winger if you just didn't lay it off for just the easiest of easiest tappy tap. That's what Sterling. That's literally what Sterling's building his career on.
Be honest. If it's me and you on the CSU team, I'm dribbling the keeper too. And it's nothing against you, but you know me. He's a forward, man. Of course he wants his hat trick. Of course he wants his score. He's already scored 2. He's already had the ball in the net 2 other times. He's actually scored twice already. Of course he's gonna dribble the keeper and take his header. Come on.
I felt it was a little selfish. When Mud Dog
had 5.
Mudryk was so he should have had 5. He should have had the one at the end that Mudryk gifted him as well. Like, but I thought the red should have came. Mike Oliver lost the plot, man. That's the only thing I can say like
so quickly.
5 minutes in,
quickly.
The Jackson's goal got disallowed first in the 5th, right?
No, it was Sterling's goal.
Disallowed. Yeah. That was called back. As soon as that happened, the game was literally like we were upset. They were upset at us being upset. And then
I saw it sooner than that. I thought I knew it 30 seconds in. When I saw Chelsea, the first thing you did was chase them into the corner flag. 12 seconds into the game, I was like, Oliver better be ready for this because it's coming. I knew immediately, and I was like, "Oh."
And like I said in the chat, man, I feel really bad because like at some point, like probably in the 30 to the 45th, because it went all the way to the 40, or it went all the way to the 57th.
Yeah.
But that stretch in between that 30 to 45, where it was just absolute circus. VAR, I felt so bad because it got so bad with the VAR decisions and the VAR interventions into the game. It felt like VAR was trying to take that long. So someone was controlling the game because he lost that entire stretch of the game. He was, again, that is 100% on the ref. Mm-hmm. Every challenge, every retaliation challenge, and the boiling over, the no call on the red that the VAR then said, yeah, that could have been a red. If it was a red, we wouldn't have overturned it. We're not going to overturn a yellow though. Like it was an orange card or whatever you want to say.
The Udogie challenge?
Yes, the immediate
Udogie.
The thing that it was literally the straw that broke the camel's back in this game was they were waiting for someone to pop off like that. He just happened to be it just happened to be Tottenham to do it first. And I'm saying it could have been us because Caicedo and Silva were both lucky it wasn't them first to get, reviewed like that. And oh my gosh! And it was just Katie bar the door on the clownery, man. It was so bad, and it honestly, I looked at Kristen at one point because we watched this one together, and I said, and the announcer is saying it, every fan base is saying it. It's just this is not soccer. Like this isn't football. It's free flow. It takes this free flowing atmosphere and the free flowing spirit of the game. Like this isn't America. We can't review every play. This isn't American football. You can't view every APP. You can't review every defensive harsh challenge. There needs to be a time cap on it where it's like the decision can only be made within the first 30 or the next relapse of 5 to 10 seconds. the decision has to come down in the next 10 to 15 or something like that. Like,
I disagree with the time thing.
because you're
People will hate that. People will get so pissed because they'll get decisions wrong. They'll still get decisions wrong, and people will be pissed.
But the game's not supposed to be paused for 15 minutes in between these decisions. You know how, like,
I agree with that too. I just
like you're gonna let teams catch their breath. You're gonna let players steam over. You're gonna let them see it on video over and over and over again, getting more upset, and then just waiting for the next passage to play because they're sitting there the entire time. Like, bet. Watch the next time you touch this ball. It's what happened in the Arsenal game. It's what happened in this game. It's what happened on both sides of the ball.
just sitting there stirring, just steaming, just staring at Bruno Guimaraes. I'm coming.
I'm coming. Right.
I'm coming.
I'm coming. So
everybody with their battle axes.
It's just, there's no balance to it, and it really highlighted it. And it was kind of like the icing that hit the cake on this. Like, it was highlighted in the Arsenal game. We saw it, and then there was this like, oh, this is worse. Like, for some reason, it just felt worse because it gridlocked this game at times.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I think also there's one thing to the whole VAR thing, and I'm not taking up for VAR in any way, possible.
They do get
I've got my own issues with it, but it also felt like it was kind of like a mini timeout to get everybody to chill out.
Yo, and that's what I was saying. Like, they took so long on that because he lost the game so bad. That's exactly what I think they did.
18th minute. I've got it right here. Udogi's yellow. 18th minute.
Yep. And the game was literally, you should have took everyone's sword and shield away and just literally issued them all shanks, all shivs, the bowling ball in the sock. Like, we're going brutal weapons.
I mean, look, at the end of the day,
prison game.
At the end of the day, what is this game that we love, that we put all our time into and watch, and it's the Gladiators Arena from Rome, right?
Yeah.
And it really became the arena out there today. Goodness gracious.
This weekend was brutal for that.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
crazy all around.
The Premier League prides itself on its physicality.
Yeah.
So, because you talk about players who come from Italy or come from Spain even, they're more playing less physical. It's more about technique. It's about style. When you come to the Premier League, you better be ready to fight. I mean, because you're going to be facing guys that are going to shove you off the ball.
Oh, yeah, and come in like Romero did, and he's got, I'm going to use my entire 210 pounds, full force, full swing, get the ball or get injured, make your choice.
Yeah, I heard a take about Doku and why he's doing so good so early, and they're like, oh, well, he hasn't been here that long. He hasn't had the clocked out of him 700 times yet. Right. He hasn't been kicked 1,000,000 times yet.
Yeah.
And, it's just that. And this weekend, this game highlighted it. I felt like, again, that it was tale of two halves, right? Like, I feel like at the 18th minute, they lost their head worse than we. Like, to have a challenge like that come down, you would expect Chelsea to – the receiving end, I feel like we got the short end of that call. So I feel like we would have reacted worse than they did. But they lost, like, they got more fit. They got in their heads. They got more physical, and it just got out of hand so fast.
I wonder if y'all played the Jamie Tart role. I wonder if Enzo Fernandez is like in somebody's ear going, man, you guys are trash, man. You guys have been so lucky this whole season. Y'all got nothing. And that's why Romero turns around and tries to kick him.
Basuma was so lucky not to get sent off this. It should have been 3 reds. They should have been on 3 red cards today. Basuma's so lucky to not.
I'm a little surprised that this game didn't get abandoned.
Me too.
It could have.
Oh my goodness.
But no,
what you go ahead.
I agree with you, X. I really wish that, Mudryk would have gotten one because he worked pretty hard for
He did.
About 30 minutes that he was on. But I also of the opinion, like, hey, our striker really hasn't seen the ball go in the back of the net, and we need that as much as possible. I don't care if it's tap-ins. I don't care if it goes off of his stomach and just rolls into the box. I don't care. He needs to see the ball going in the back of the net to create some confidence. And honestly, I said it in the chat, when he didn't touch it over to Mudryk, I was thinking to myself, he's either going to flub this or he's actually going to be confident and take and make a move and take the shot. And he did that, and I was like, okay. And then he goes and he skies one up to
Mudryk gives him another silver platter. Just cuts it back. All you got to do is put it on frame, buddy. He just cuts it right back.
Is that when I said there's the Jackson we know and love?
That's the C19. He was just aiming for that one fan that kept hounding him all night. He's like, oh, this is mine.
Well, it must be said, even though I think Spurs definitely deserve the result with all of their skullduggery, as you might call it, James Maddison and Mickey van der Ven both injured.
Both injured.
But see, I pointed this out. What do they do?
Done.
What do they do once they start seeing injuries? Because they're going to come.
If they expect Dyer and Emerson Royale to play that high line and chase back all day long, you got another thing coming, man.
Van der Ven's way faster than Dyer. Like just
yes.
Not even skill wise. He has the legs.
Yo, do you watch the same Eric Dyer I have seen? Dude's way better already. I would already rate him higher for sure. But what you saying, Lewis? What you think about Chelsea?
I mean, I watched. When I saw, because I think you text because I was working, and so I opened up Peacock whenever I saw the comments were like, whoa. I was like, well, let me see what's going on with this game, right? And well, Spurs went up so fast. I'm like, Jesus, man, are we really gonna be here right now? And then it just
for half a second there.
Yeah,
for half a second.
And for me, it was just sort of that, and that's why I got my purple, man. I was like, hey, is it going to be the City Thanos thing where we just have to beat them ourselves? Like, is that what's going to happen? Can we get somebody else to win, right? And so
we got you.
But it was so weird because they played a lot of Monday games, right? And I was like, that has to affect like sort of this mentality balance kind of thing. And so when they went down to 9, because both of them obviously correct calls. In my head, I'm like, this is Chelsea's opportunity to find some form and get some confidence. And then what I saw from Chelsea after this was like, are they good? Like it really made me question it, because then and again it's like I guess when you become older to evaluate sport after watching sport, it wasn't that the team was bad. It was like, are these individuals that misfitting that they don't know how to play together, but you train together? And then to hear the sort of the analysis of the manager's really mad, which means the manager has trained them with something too that they're not doing. And so the chances were like they had a 2v1 on a keeper and couldn't be. I was just like,
they don't trust each other. Yeah, they don't. They don't trust each other.
My buddy's a Chelsea fan, just like you guys, and he said, "Dude, and the first thing I wasn't gonna comment, he's like, if we don't win by 3 goals, man."
Yep.
And I was like, dude, that's the first. I'm like, you got to win 3-1 minimum for this to even count as a win. If it was like a 2-1 win, that wasn't a win at all. And then
the NBC guys were saying that they got to be real proud. That Spurs should be really proud of this performance.
Well, I put it like this: if Spurs were able to keep it like at if they had lost 2-1 or if they were able to get a draw, that's a victory for them both ways.
Yeah. A draw would have been nuts.
Oh, it would have been nuts. I would not watch the rest of the season.
I probably would.
It would just be a Chelsea flag. X wouldn't even be here. It would just be
and that's it. I would.
And that's why I asked the question. I said, are these, because some of your guys, like I saw the lineup and I'm like, this is a good lineup. When I saw it, I'm like, they should really be able to play with them. And then I saw them play, and I'm like, now I saw individuals that in my mind are good players, but as a unit, they may not be good players.
Yep.
But it's weird because we are, what is this, the 10th? How many games?
11. That was the 11th week.
And there's not really an excuse because before, we had the Potter thing and movement and whatever, and then the other dude.
There is one excuse, Lewis. There is one, but I hate it because I think the boys have played enough weeks together where it shouldn't matter. But the inconsistency of the lineup, injury return, and or leaving list leaves someone like Cucurella or Mudryk not knowing who they're playing with, and it shows. But
they didn't start. Neither of them started.
But no, when they were on but that's what I'm saying. But look at the game. Look at the 35 minutes they had to play together. They did not know where either one of them were going to be.
But I'm talking about from the start of the game. I'm talking about the start. And
I'm saying that's just the motif of the whole squad right now. Like that's just the highlight of it. Because these guys aren't playing with the same guy every week. Somebody's coming back. Broja will start. Broja's going to start at the 9 next, 3 weeks because he comes back in 2. Like,
that Jackson's going to be off to AFCON soon.
Yeah, and Jackson's at AFCON. So there we go.
While you can use that, but I mean, there's regular rotation where he's not rotating 11 guys. I mean, there's still some like mainstays in there. So I mean, and if that's the case, I mean, you can look at Arsenal's rotations or City's rotations. They move guys in and out all the time, so that's not an excuse. You've been training together.
Well, I think it's an excuse when you pair it with my guys have only been training together for 16 weeks. Your guys have been training together for an entire summer plus last season plus. But we have an entire new starting 11. Like,
no, because the thing about it is that when the other teams are playing, and this is not a shot, but when the other teams are playing European football, you got time to practice. So, I mean, there's not really an excuse for that.
Well, now we actually do practice.
When I was going to say they've been used to being at the pool.
We're at the pool at the beach. Like, now that does apply. You're right.
But I do agree. I do agree with your point, Lewis, and I agree with your point as well, Xavier, because I have looked for, especially on the left, what is the decision there? Are we going to play Mudryk and then play Sterling on the right with James because they play well together?
That looked way better today than it ever has, even when they had 10 or 11 men. James is dangerous. He looks hungry for goals, and that's. God, I
did see a little bit of that when he took Mr. Cool, that Mr. Casual.
When he took that one off the chest and was just like so nonchalant, so lackadaisical, he just was like, bam, and then he rips and he almost far post slots the keeper.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
And then he just walks off like, yeah, all right, whatever. And I was like,
so, dude, Mr. Casual.
That's Reece James for you. But I agree.
They should let him play with sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Yes. But I agree, Lewis. At some point the team has to gel. The window's been closed now for 2 months. There's going to be injuries. Just like I said with Spurs, eventually the injuries are going to come. There's going to be injuries. But I also think that while they may be practicing together, playing together is totally different. Situations. How do I make this run? Do you know that I'm going to make a diagonal here? Do you know that I'm coming back to, give you feet?
Yeah.
What exactly, what you're getting with that player?
There's a moment in the 70th, and I had it written in my phone. There's a moment in the 70th through the 70th and the 80th. Jackson went to make four to six runs, depending on how you're going to count it, where he hits the gap. He looks at the player who has the ball. It doesn't matter who it is. It was Enzo before he got subbed out, Connor, Sterling. Jackson would look at the gap, shove his hand out, make the run, and they would not send it. They just don't.
They're afraid of the outside, though. To be fair,
that
late in the game, they had already been called offsides 19 times. They were afraid of the.
Sterling took a page out of Timo's book. I felt like he was offside. I felt, again, like you said right before I hopped on, you were talking about it. I felt like we had 100 offside calls.
It was only 7.
It only took them about from the time that Tottenham were like pushing the halfway line So with like 15 minutes left, from the time it got really blatant, it only took them like half the time from the remaining time in the game to really figure it out. And I said it like 4 times before Chelsea figured it out. I was like, runs from deep, break high lines.
Cuckoo should have got his revenge.
Cuckoo's first one, and then Gallagher. Then Gallagher right after.
When it was 1-1 and Cuckoo had the ball and it was a one-on-one.
The revenge goal.
I was like, that's it. I stood up off the couch. I was screaming. I was like, this is it. This is the revenge goal. Take it. And then he just hits him right in the dome. Right
in the face.
Right in his face, yeah.
Oh.
That keeper had a game. Like it's funny. It's funny that we end up saying that sometimes.
Yeah.
Ship 4 goals and might have been Spurs' best player. one of Spurs' best player. I thought Son worked really, really, really hard, despite the circumstances. And as far as they should be proud of the performance or whatever, I disagree completely. Like they let their teammates down out there, for sure. And so the rest of them are left with having to figure out tactics with 9 guys. Like, have they ever actually practiced a 9-guy tactical moment in a game? Like, who does that? Hey guys, I'm expecting us to get 2 red cards this weekend. Let's practice this.
Well, and I blame old cereal box over here with old Posty. I just don't understand why you keep him in with a yellow when he's playing that reckless. Like, he was already being reckless.
I think that
yellow.
I think that Postecoglou. He may not have like realized that they were gonna do that.
No,
I kind of feel like he may have said some words or whatever to try to keep them calm in the locker room, but it was like it's like having a pit bull on a leash with a big steak across the yard. It's like once he let him off, they were just.
I'm cool right now.
Yeah, let me off this leash. Yeah, and then they went crazy.
But it was so sweet justice I love Pochettino's, like, the way he looked. And there was a moment where the camera panned to him later in the game. It's like the 88th or something like that. And he's finally like taking his breath. And he has this smirk on his face. And he's sitting in his chair and he's like,
it's probably after the 3rd goal.
Yeah, it was just.
That's how I felt after the 3rd goal.
True.
It was just
same. Definitely.
I think I even said, all right, and exhale.
Yep, absolutely.
There's this moment where you could see he was like enjoying it a little, where he had this like smile on his face, and he's like, "Oh, I love being here in Tottenham. Put him down to 9. Put 3 on him already." Like, it was we always talk about these big London rivalries and everything. It's just this one got so out of. We haven't had one get out of hand this bad. It's usually been a brawl, 2-0, 1-1, 2-2
since last year.
Right.
I mean, this one was crazier than last. Last year was crazy.
Last year was crazy.
Last year's popped off about 20 minutes left.
This one was from the word go.
And it's getting worse, right? Like, us in Tottenham's getting worse. So it's like, I'm all for it because I hate the Spurs. I hate,
I mean, I heard a Spurs fan on DR Sports, Miss Abby. I'm not sure what her last name is, but she's a Spurs fan on the DR Sports channel on YouTube. She actually said to Robbie Lyle, the guy from AFTV, she says, the Spurs and Arsenal hate is different. You're just born hating them. You're going to hate. She's obviously saying going to hate Arsenal. That's just what Spurs fans do. The hatred with Chelsea is like a learned new thing that we kind of like. We experienced it. The Arsenal hate, you don't have to experience it. That comes with the territory. Right. But she's like, hating Chelsea is like, I've been a part of it. Like, I'm in it. It's like I remember the specific reasons why I'm like, it's these
That's how I feel about United.
Chelsea fans call it three-point lane for a reason.
Yeah. That's why I mean, I was here for the United run. That's why I vehemently hate the United Chelsea.
Well, y'all have owned that fixture. I was shocked that in the beginning Spurs have beat y'all 8 times.
Yeah.
All of history. They've only won 8 times.
They took advantage of the Potter run in the second
second
leg. of last year's season after we lost Tuchel, they took advantage of Potter being there. Like
Who didn't take advantage of Potter being
I was
at
doing the same
Chelsea?
thing, man. Kick a dog while he's down, and that's what we did
Oh,
today.
you know me. You know
Kick
me.
a dog
Yeah.
while he's down.
Well, yeah, there you have it. Wonderful, wonderful result all around, really.
Huge 3 points.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Didn't even talk about. Sorry, Pat. Didn't even talk about the pet table. Huge 3 points for Chelsea in this run.
Massive.
10th place. You're up into the top half.
No. Props to Cucurella. He came in. He played strong. He won every challenge that he had. Successful tackles, everything.
I wonder if Romero was still on the field though when he come on. What might have happened?
He would have broken him in half. What are you talking about?
He would have Luke Kung double-barreled him in the chest.
Oh, it would have been the bicycle kick. It would have been great. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I look at individual performances along with the team, and there are certain players where I'm like, okay, Caicedo played well, or I thought Caicedo played well.
I thought Caicedo played well.
Sure.
Silva, for how old he is, held up pretty good.
He ran with Sonny a couple of times.
Yeah, he did.
He's so smart. Like, I was really, like, it really portrayed it today in some of those one-on-ones or even when the ball's in the air. The way he approaches some 50-50s, you're like, oh, that dude's played a million games.
It's just safe. It's just safe. You know?
He'll look at it and be like,
it feels safe.
He'll judge like the ricochet where he knows it's going to fall back, and he'll just be, it's safe. He plays he plays the long game because he knows he's going to get dusted.
And then you got Decimate who just goes in like with no
So one thing right before we move on too, the goal that's disallowed.
Which one? There were 5 goals disallowed.
The Dyer goal that's disallowed were Conor Gallagher. And I love Conor to death. But again, him and Cucurella either can't communicate or don't communicate. That back post run is
open,
literally someone's responsibility.
All day.
And I said it. I said, it's into the 70th or 80th minute.
Arsenal.
I literally screamed
the next game.
I said, Connor, you're the last man on the 18. Watch the back post. That's now your responsibility. Literally a kick happens. Man puts it in on a volley. Y'all better
figure that out. Y'all better figure that out because you know who's lurking at the back post next week?
Yeah.
Y'all need to figure that out quickly.
And then Silva quickly changed that too. Silva sent Connor to the near post the very next time. He drags him. Like, he literally runs off his line, calls him and drags him. He says, you go near post. Cucurella then has no choice but to mark the back post. It's just huge props to Thiago, man. Like, today was a really good game from him. There were some moments there where we really needed him. I would say that too, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for old Thiago, there's a certain Norse god that will be haunting his dreams for the next few days. But but we'll get to that. We'll get to that on Thursday. Another Cup Chasers derby coming up. Another big one for Chelsea, of course. But we'll move on. Wonderful victory. We love to see it. Love to see the Spurs.
Yeah, you're welcome,
down.
Lewis. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Y'all needed that one.
Hey, I loved it as well, and I loved it as well for sure. But we'll move on to the other most craziest of the weekends, and I want to say before we start, strap in here for this one. Firstly, from the get, I want to say that I'm going to try to speak on the way things were deserved in this match. Who deserved this? Who deserved what? And to start with, so that I'm not just sounding completely crazy biased, like my instant match reaction, for which you can see all the bile. If you'd like to go check that out, it's on the little card here. I'll put it up on the screen. But we'll start with Kai Havertz. Firstly, when I saw the lineup, I was very worried. And because of all the controversy, no one's going to talk about the fact that Kai Havertz played in Odegaard's spot for the first time ever that I've ever seen him do that. And he actually looked better than he's looked in most games. He did. He had more attacking impetus, I thought, than he did in most games. He seemed more comfortable. was receiving the ball and trying to progress instead of just tapping it back. So for a bit in this game, I thought there were moments where he and Jorginho actually did okay. I've been super critical of both of them with good reason. And I thought at times they were both halfway decent. I'll just put it this way. They weren't as horrible as I thought they were going to be when I saw the lineup. And I was panicking. I'll admit, when Odegaard was not in the team. You guys know in the chat I was right. I was panicking. It was bad. And so they definitely performed better than I expected, those two. Now, Kai Havertz, his challenge on what's his face? Whatever the guy. I think it was Longstaff. Yeah. Like, definitely orange, as you say, but I think for me, he's very, very lucky. On the whole, all the discussion I've heard about it, the things I've seen, the replays.
He's lucky the on-field decision was a yellow.
Yeah, I didn't think, like, when I first saw it, I was like, uh-oh. My first instinct was, oh, that's awful. And then I was, bolstered because I was like, okay, it doesn't seem like he's actually made contact with the first one, because the first one could have broken his leg.
Yeah.
If he's actually made contact with him. Right? And so then he's made contact with the second foot. So I definitely think that he could have. Hold on. I definitely think he could have. Something was playing in my ears. Sorry. I definitely think that he could have been sent off for that. And I think he's very, very lucky not to be sent off for that. I will say that I don't think we created very much. As far as clear cut, we should have scored chances. I thought, although we did have 14 attempts in the game, we only had one on target. And so that's definitely, not great. But they are a very strong defensive unit. They do defend well. I will say that there's a fine line between defending and trying to hurt people, and they were playing jump rope with it all game long. So, yeah, I have an issue with this. Oh, it's good defending because we fouled you all game long, and we're able to break up the play and keep you from doing what you normally do because we just fouled you constantly. Whether or not these fouls were actually called properly, that's the line. And it's like, for me, it felt like Newcastle were just, we can't beat these guys straight up playing football, so we're gonna try, because for some reason people think you can bully Arsenal with the likes of Willie Saliba and Declan Rice. On the field. And I thought we handled, for the most part, their crazy physicality. I thought we handled it quite well, to be honest with you, on the whole. But this game is just another one that's just completely, like, as far as the whole deserving thing, we did not deserve to lose this game. My whole point with our lack of attacking impetus was that I don't necessarily think we deserve to win the game.
I thought a 0-0 draw would have been justified here because the goal in real time. I'll say this in real time. I did not agree, or I did agree with what happened. I thought, that's a goal every day of the week. It's the replay that goes back, and it's everything, right? It's the ball.
There's 4 opportunities,
right,
to get this call right.
To get this call right. The biggest one to me is, and I'm a winger. I vehemently say this and I scream this at refs every day of the week. When the arm goes to, it's not contact. I'm okay with the contact. It's when the rule states is when the arm goes to full extension. That is a push away. That is extending the distance between either you and the ball or the man and the ball itself. That's the foul. That is what deems it a foul, is the full extension. My man literally, he didn't bump him. He fully extended out away from him to create the space. That is the foul. That is the game, letter of the law. That's the foul. Because he didn't bump him with his body. He didn't shoulder him off. He fully extended his arms to, again, it's like a handball, making yourself bigger to create the space that's needed to get access to the ball or score. I disagree with the call here. I really do. Like, looking at it now on the replay and the slow-mo and how the contact's being made, it's a clear push, man.
It's a joke of a call. It's an absolute joke of a call, you know. And if you break it all down on the first one, it's out of bounds. Okay, the ball is curved, and you know the curved part of the ball might still be over the line. Okay, that's fine, great. I'm going to call right here for the goal line technology that's not just on the goal line. It's also along the actual whole goal line. We've seen it before in the World Cup. And okay, there's been some controversy with that as well in the Women's World Cup. But, you know, if this one is in, how can you tell me that the Marcus Rashford one versus Brighton is not in? Now, you know me, I hate United as much as the next person. But if this one's in, that one's in. Come on, what are we doing? You know, and so Joe Willett goes out there and gets the ball, you know, as he should, and comes back. And here's where I want to pause again. Because what's the first thing? Okay, say that I'm 14. Say that we're 14 years old, we're playing in the game, and I go in and the ball kind of rolls along the line, but the other team saves it. And then I turn around and throw my hand up, and I'm yelling at the referee while they're dribbling down the line, and the ref doesn't call anything. What's the first thing the coach is going to say to me?
Get on your horse. Play to the whistle. Play
to the whistle. Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Play to the whistle.
Get on your horse. Play to the whistle.
So when Joe Willett goes and retrieves this ball, and Ben White doesn't hear anything, what's he doing standing around? Close the man down. You have to know. In this culture that VAR has created, especially with the way the referees don't raise the flag on the offsides, you have to know that the whistle will always be late. It's just always going to be late. He's going to wait to stop the play, always. So just because you thought the ball was out, if he doesn't call it out, you got to keep going.
Yep.
You have to step to the man, right? And so while I am going to gripe about the horrific referees, Ben White should be closing that down. Okay? And before we get to Joel Linton, what's David Raya doing?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of no man's land are you in, bro?
He just played their ball.
Where are you at? That's literally the only thing that I believe separates you from Aaron Ramsdale is your presence on crosses and your ability to bring the ball down out of the air on corners and crosses and situations like that. And you have effed that up more than once this season. On Tottenham's first goal at the Emirates, and then again here, you've just completely missed this. What is that? Okay? Now, for those out there who want to claim that Gabriel's going down already, or Gabriel has gone down easy, or he's looking for the foul. Firstly, what center back in the league is going to try to get a foul instead of heading the ball off his own goal line? I'll wait.
It's
ridiculous. Secondly, there's clear. They said there was no camera angle, clear and obvious camera angle to be able to see enough conclusive evidence that it's a push in the back. Firstly, you have 900 cameras in the ground.
There's literally 30 in the ground to watch for the goal line.
And you can't tell me, and so you can't tell me you can't find an angle. And secondly, there's clear video evidence, just like you said, X, of his arms extending.
It's extension.
His arms extend. You can see that. And if his arms are in the back, okay, great. We've seen that go. But when he does this,
it's this.
And Gabriel is bent, is leaning over already. He's already going down. He's leaning because he's trying to head the ball.
Yep.
He's making a play on the ball and gets shoved in the back. Now, how that's not a foul is like I'm thinking about, match fixing and these buzzwords are coming to my head because it's so crazy blatant and clear, and not your verbiage, VAR, clear and obvious.
You know what it is? I swear the VAR gets on the phone with the owners and they have a two-way bidding. That's why it's taken longer and longer. They have a two-way bidding war on the call. You want this one to go this way or this? So Boyley's been on the phone all day going, yeah.
Dude, I said it in my match reaction. We're putting some tinfoil hats on here. Have Spurs infiltrated the VAR?
Well, not after today.
Not after today. I thought about not until today was I disproved of such. But but anyway, I feel like it's just the inconsistencies and the ridiculousness of these horrific calls are only benefiting the people that are making all the money in this league. It's very disheartening, really, to think that. I don't think they're actually match fixing. I think they just don't care.
Yeah.
Because you get more clicks and more views and more drama, and it brings, that's what the first thing Tim Howard said. The first thing Tim Howard said after the Chelsea Spurs game was that at halftime, actually, was that was one of the most crazy, awesome, exhilarating games I've ever seen. And then they go on to talk about how awful it is that VAR is breaking up the match and stuff like that.
I was about to say, in the same sentence, he said, "Where's our beautiful game gone?" Like, that's where I'm at with it. This is not the game we've been brought up to watch or love. Or
they opened it up, though. They opened it up to this whole idea that we must get the call right. We must have the proper decision.
That's American football. That's American.
That's what we've done, though. That's what we did. That's what we've done.
Process every touch of the ball because it stops. This game doesn't stop. It's built on momentum. It's built on play. It's built on getting the wrong call and the offsides call that makes you mad enough to get line back up against that center back and outrun him the correct way where he's not going to raise his flag and I still score the goal. But
also it's also VAR is also meant to help when the referee hasn't seen something, like Jorginho getting elbowed in the back of the head. It's absolutely blatant. No one's talking about the fact that he's gone in for a 2-footed challenge and gone sliding off down the ramp like Dallo in the Arsenal game where Jesus. You see all those videos where Dallo's go sliding off. They're gonna make videos of Bruno sliding off, because as soon as he gets up from that, he goes and throws a bow that would get points in the octagon. Are you kidding me? You would get points. Joe Rogan would be clapping that elbow in the MMA, and it's not even a foul. It's a farce is what it is. It's absolute and utterly ridiculous that they have not gone back. And then he goes on later, he tries to choke slam Fabio Vieira. He's kicking other people. He's reckless. He's wild. And as I said at the beginning of the segment, the man deserves to be off of that pitch.
See, it's
just his whole game, he did not deserve to last 90 minutes.
Picked the right one to hit, though. Like if I'm Guimaraes in this situation, like I'm gonna clock Jorginho too, because Jorginho's not gonna hit you back and make a big deal out of it. If I'm like, that's when, as the offending player, like if you did that to me, if you ran up to me and elbowed me in the head, I don't care if it's a red for retaliation. You're coming off the field with me because that's unsport. Like
probably gonna break your jaw. Like I'm gonna turn around swinging.
It's all three for me. It checks all three boxes. Is it dangerous? Yes. Is it unsportsman? Yes. Is it beyond the rules and what I'm agreeing to?
It's violent.
If it's not what I'm agreeing to stepping on the field with you, I'm not expecting to get bows thrown towards my head playing this game. If I wanted that, I'd go step in the octagon, like you said. It checks all three for me. So if I'm Jorginho, as soon as I get clocked in the head like that, scissor kick straight to the back of the face. Like, don't care.
Yeah.
Like, review both. Now both of us are kids.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a fight. Like,
Right.
it's a fight for
I'm
sure.
fighting you. I'm Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Step on my foot. I know you did it on purpose. Karate chop to the neck. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. Like
shocked.
how they haven't even called a foul.
And it was reviewed. They reviewed it in VAR, did they not?
Yeah, they looked at that.
Yeah.
Of course they looked at it. What?
Yeah.
That's my thing from earlier.
But then
There wasn't enough force. There wasn't enough force. Are you joking?
And you're going to review Reece James's where it's natural to jump.
Are you joking me? It's a circus. It's an absolute disgusting, ridiculous, unbelievably disgraceful performance from the referees. And now I'm not going to say that it's corruption, but what I will say is that it's nepotism. They have 100% already admitted to nepotism. Mike Dean come out and said, I didn't want to get my mate in trouble, so I didn't call him to the monitor when Romero's pulled Cucurella's hair. I didn't, because the hostile nature of the place, it would have been bad for my friend referee. Now, you know what that is? That is nepotism. When you do something for your friend or family to benefit them in your business, is defined as nepotism. Now, nepotism and corruption are not mutually exclusive, meaning that you can't have one without the other. But every time you look up the word nepotism, its connotation is corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So no, they're not match fixing, but it's still corrupt. Mm-hmm. They're not out here saying, hey, we're going to make sure Arsenal lose this week. But it is still a corrupt organization, because the guys, I think that, and you're not supposed to make accusations and say things without putting forth solutions. Well, here's my solution. Two things. One, the guys who are in Stockley Park should not be refereeing games.
Agreed.
It should not be the same people. They should not be in the same boat in any way, shape, or form. They should not have any sort of camaraderie that makes them want to favor one another in the video reviews, whether deciding to send them to the monitor or not. And secondly, if you're not going to do that, you know what my favorite one is, X? Fines and bans. Every time the PGMOL has to issue an apology to a team because they F something up, it's $100,000 for the offending person, and you get a month's ban instead of a week's paid vacation or a one-match game in the championship, and then the next day you're on the sideline for the Luton Liverpool game, Anthony Taylor. Are you joking? What kind of a punishment is that? Here, you get an easier day and you get paid. And then you can come back to work tomorrow. What kind of crap? What kind of crap is that?
Had I known the game was going to be where it is today, I would have stressed being a player just as much, but I would have taken being a ref way more serious, because the amount of power these guys are wielding these days is ungodly to the game. And
it's crazy. It's crazy the influence they have, and with no accountability.
With no accountability, right?
None. Because you can watch that show where Michael Owen makes a mockery of doing an interview with Howard Webb about the different decisions the different conversations they're having or whatever. But it's all a farce. It's all, the media are in bed with the Premier League, are in bed with the FA, are in bed with the PGMOL, and these people out here, these crybaby merchants that are saying, "Oh, dry your eyes, stop crying, Arsenal fans." You guys are the problem. You guys are perpetuating this system, and the powers that be are laughing at us because we'll never band together. There's too much tribalism, and nothing will ever change. So they're just having their way with it, and they're laughing at us because people are in the comments going, "Oh, you're a crybaby. Oh, you're, ha ha ha, Arsenal, ha ha. Let's all laugh at them because they got effed this week." But yeah, when it's your team.
Right, when it's Cucurella getting pulled by his hair and there's still a no call, I agree 100%. In the video you sent today from that guy,
it's Terry at the Football Terrace.
Yeah.
He's a very famous YouTuber.
he said it like he said, as a fandom to the game, at some point we love the game. That's a baseline common ground we all can stand on. And that's what we have to stand on, even though do I like the rule changes? Do I think getting every call right is good? Sure. But I'm okay with 98%. I'm okay with a 96%. I would rather have the
That's not what it is anymore, though. That's not where we are.
I know, but I would rather have the free flow. That's what I'm saying. As a fan group, as a fandom, what VAR is leading into is just it's going to turn soccer into play-by-play. It's going to turn soccer into, you have possession. What are you going to do with this possession? You made an advance. You did this. You passed it to that guy. You passed it to this guy. You took a shot on goal. You missed. Okay, now it's their turn to have the ball. Like, it looks so American to me. It makes me sick. And as a fandom, that's not the game.
Should we scrap VAR?
Game. Yes. Give it. That's the whole point of having refs, right? That's why you believe in them. That's why they have the cards in their pocket. That's why he has a flag on the sideline. If he calls it, if he got it wrong, he got it wrong. But 9 times out of 10, he's getting it right. They have a 96% on-field percentage of calling the correct call. It's 96%.
I'd be able to take it so much more. I would be able to swallow it so much more if it was like it used to be when we were playing. Okay, the refs got this one wrong. He's an idiot. We move on. That's all.
But then you know and believe that ref's going to give you a gimme call. Like, there's going to be one coming back. There always was. There was that one time where you're like, yeah, you could have been a hard.
Okay, all right.
We're cool. Or like, it came off me, but you gave me the throw in. Okay, yeah, that makes up for the, BS call that you made on the foul in midfield that no one cared about. Like, okay.
Yeah, but all in all, I definitely think Arsenal were cheated horrifically, and I support the statement from the club. I support Mikel Arteta getting mad in the presser and all that. I support all of that. I'm behind it all. And I think that things need to change. I fear that they won't ever change, but again, to get away from that, I don't think we necessarily deserve to win, but we nullified them and we played defense really, really well, and they didn't do anything at all. So I definitely don't think we deserve to lose.
No, I didn't. I didn't think you deserved to lose. I thought it was a well-fought match. I thought it was a well-fought match. Like you said, you had Saliba bullying a little bit. Jorginho,
he was better than I expected. We'll put it that way. I have a really low bar.
Right.
So he was.
But it's not like they commanded this. There was no command of the game either way. There was no moment where
in the end, we were putting it on them.
And that's
they almost broke. They got deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah. But what you saying, Patrick?
Well, I was going to say, I went back and I watched the extended highlights while y'all were talking. And I'm watching the Chelsea ones now. But I was going to say, I read that first off, while Newcastle did win this match, they might be bad off now because Dan Burns out for a long time. And I don't know how they're going to be able to absorb that. First off,
well, they'll do what they did in the game, won't they? Trippier will play left back like he does for England, and then they'll figure out the right back situation. Livermento, maybe
that takes away some of the steel of that defense, though. Just truthfully, him and Shar play really well together.
And they're already without Votman.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm interested to see how they respond to that. But that said. I agree. I think it's a little hard done that y'all didn't get a result. I think, though, that one thing that we have to keep in mind is the person who is in charge of accountability with referees never had accountability himself. He made some absolute gaffes as a referee, usually in the favor of Man United. When he was an official or a referee, and now he's not carrying any accountability to his guys,
to anyone.
Exactly, to anyone. I mean, even himself. Even if it's like we got it wrong. Well, what are you going to do to do better? No one asks that question because they know that he's not going to answer it. And so it's frustrating. You know, I'm still watching the Chelsea highlights, and I mean, even when Spurs went down to 9, they still were kind of reckless abandon. Because, again, Oliver, just like all the other officials in this league, did not do anything to calm it down. Nothing. And it's because these officials, first off, they get paid poorly. Honestly, I think they're some of the lowest paid officials.
I actually looked that up to see what it was. It's not a lot. It's way less than I expected. It's like $1,000 a game.
Yeah,
it's like $1,100 a game.
They're like the lowest paid officials in league football in Europe, in terms of the 5 big leagues or whatever,
right?
Or 6. So I think that's a problem. First off, you know what you're doing is you're taking whoever is willing to take that pay, go through all the trouble of being an official, because there's a lot that goes into being an official.
Yeah, even here in America, I've been a referee. It's almost like the military as far as rankings. Like, you got to put in time at each level. You gotta take tests. Like, it's a whole thing. You don't just show up.
No. And so I think that's part of the problem. I also think that the Premier League has been known for so long for being this physical, brutish league that, and I know I was telling you all that when right before we hopped on, talking about Spain and Italy and how the players there are different. They're more about style. They're more about technique. It's not about beating the crap out of each other. But that being said, some of this is just pure elementary. I mean, pure elementary. If I were an official, I would have called the ball out. Clearly, it looks out. If I were an official, if I see somebody pushed in the back, that's a foul. I mean, last year, I don't remember who it was against. I think it was Villa, actually. Chelsea went down, I think 1-0, and the next 3 minutes later, Chilwell heads one in, and he nudges it. Like, it's not even a full push; it's a nudge almost, and it was called a foul.
Oh yeah, I saw 4 fouls of a similar nature called in the beginning of the Sheffield Wolves game in the first 32 seconds or something like that. It was very physical right at the beginning, a lot of pushing, and I was immediately disgusted. I was immediately like, what am I? I mean, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Where's the consistency? It's just none.
There is none.
None to speak of.
And again, it starts at the top. It starts with Howard Webb. Until Howard Webb is held responsible for poor officiating, then he's not going to hold his own guys responsible for poor officiating. And it was damning when oh God, what was his name? Came out in the paper talking about protecting
Mike Dean.
Mike Dean, yeah.
Everybody on TV. He said that on a television show. That wasn't just a paper. Like, it was,
Yeah, I mean, that was damning because all that showed was, like you were saying, nepotism. It shows that it's not about getting it right. If it were, we wouldn't have these issues. And, we can blame VAR, and I'm frustrated with VAR in multiple ways. One thing that drives me insane is this waiting to throw a flag up, 30 seconds after the offside actually happens. Like, I get if it's close, but there was one today where Sterling is a good 2 yards offside, but they let it play. We go and score a goal, right? Oh, disallowed. It should have been disallowed. I mean, it shouldn't have to have been disallowed.
Don't even let me make the run, man.
Yeah, exactly. You throw your flag up.
Don't let me,
that's it.
I know. Right. I know.
And a lot of times in these situations, they're like kind of last-ditch, desperate defensive type situations, and tackles fly in. And imagine if somebody takes a season-ending injury on after a play that was offside.
Exactly.
That's
no reason for the tackle to fly in.
That somebody has to have that happen to them so that gets changed. Like, that's just it. As a runner, as a flyer, if I'm making my run and I'm offside, it's like, do not let me run 30 yards for nothing.
Yeah, just because I don't want to run at that point.
I don't, right. Like,
I mean, you're
I only
already
got so
extending
many
the games by like
right. I
15
only got
minutes.
so many of these in me, man. Like, don't let me do it.
But what I was building up to with that is that the officiating has gotten lazy because they're relying on VAR. And if VAR is not going to be correct, laziness is going to continue to be rewarded. You know, that FAR official, or not even the FAR official, the official that is on the goal line should see that ball is out. Like that's something you just look down the line, you see that ball is out. The official, I mean, honestly, we have to ask a question of that official on that sideline because he saw a push. He didn't watch the ball go out, and he missed an offside.
Yeah, I mean, they don't do their job.
Exactly.
And in literally any other position in the world, you don't do your job,
You get fired.
Get fired.
Unless you're Anthony Taylor.
Unless you're Anthony Taylor, yeah. But what are you saying, Lewis? What you think about this craziness, this debacle at St. James's Park?
Well, I think it's fun to only for giggles to take the other position right now.
Oh, here he goes.
No, because like for example,
here we go.
In real time, I watched the ball. It looked like it went out. I thought the ball was out. He played it, and then when the foul happened, I saw the guy go up, and I'm like, did he push him or was he going to head the ball down? Right, so I couldn't really tell. But then when I saw the replay, he pushed him. So you won't get any debate from me about those points. Right. So, but the point is coming back to the officials, right? And because I've had just like you, Jake, I had the opportunity to referee or officiate several different sports. There's something to say about it on the other end. So, because I get your point, if you don't do your job, you get fired. But the thing about it is that we look at that and we say, well, we magnify one thing. So I look at that and say, well, did the official miss all the calls for them? Did he miss everything? And then Patrick's point is a very valid one, which is something that they may have been sort of told or indoctrinated where, for example, the ball that I look in real time, but again, I'm looking at it from TV, right? I'm not on the field. I'm not playing real time. And anyone who's ever officiated something knows that the speed of the real-time game and the things that you're responsible for watching are different than what fans are looking at because you're supposed to watch zones, right? And so if he's watching the guy and the ball comes, if I'm airing and I know I have VAR and more than likely they've been told if it's something that close, you let it play because if you take a goal away, that should have been a goal, that's more egregious than going back and fixing it. So if you think about from the perspective of, okay, I see it, I think it's out, but because I'm not sure, I'm not going to call it because I know that they'll review it. Now, it's not my fault if when they review it, they don't get it right. Because at that point, it's not on the on-field officials at all. Because if I'm told I'm supposed to play it, it looks like it out, but I don't know, leave it to the booth. I'm going to leave it to the booth. That's just what I'm going to do. And I'm going to trust that even though I think it looks out, I'm going to trust you because I can't see the replay because the line officials don't see it. So they didn't go back and say, yeah, I saw it was out. Somebody else saw it. And we can't tell what that person's looking for. So we can't necessarily blame him for that, right? We can't blame the linesman for that because even if he might have been instructed for that. Now, the push again, real time, looking at that, because what was the one? Well, it was yesterday's game where the guy scored off his shoulder. You said it in the text, Jake. What the shoulder score? Who was it?
It was one of your players, wasn't it? It was one of your headers, wasn't it?
It wasn't a City game. It was the other game. God, I turned my mouse off my head. Oh, but it was a guy scored. No, it was Diaz. It was Luis Diaz because he pulled
Luis Diaz. Yeah.
he pulled up a shirt, which I'm glad that they didn't fine him for showing the shirt because people were talking about fining him. They said they wouldn't.
That's ridiculous.
Free his dad. Free his dad. Definitely free his dad.
For sure.
But,
for sure.
For that, it wasn't the same. But I mean, when Diaz went up, he was on top of the guy, right? And he didn't extend because he couldn't, but he was on top of him. Right. So in real time, that fast, if I'm the official, and again, if I don't think if in real time I can't see the full extension, we can see it on the replay. But if in real time I can't see the full extension, I'm going to say, hey, and people probably told me, don't call that if you're not sure, because someone in the booth can do it. VAR had four? It was 4 VAR replays. Now, if I'm on the field and you don't call that, but I was told to let you call that, you make me look bad. Because I did what I was supposed. I did what you told me to do. So we can have the debate of saying, well, you didn't do your job. But if I was told to do what I did and then I get the blame, then it's to the point where you can say they're lazy, but it's the equivalent of if I go to work and say, and someone says, okay, well, I need you to send 50 emails out, but use AI to write it. And then I use AI and I see something, but you said, hey, you're going to review it, or AI is going to review it. And then I send that email out and it has errors in it. It's supposed to catch it. If you told me to do this thing, put it through this, and then send it, and that's what I did, but I get blamed for what happened on a thing that I don't have any control over, but it can't fully be on me. Yes, I do have some culpability in that, but at the same time, I have to say, well, but you told me to do that. But the thing is those people at the top, so it goes back to fully Patrick's point. I think X, you made the point as well as you, Jake. It goes back to the guy on top. The guy on top got to do something about that. But then as an official, you look at it and you say, okay, well, how many times can I apologize in the game? Because as an official, you also know the coaches and the fans are on top of you. You can't keep making those, hey, man, I feel pressure, let me fix that. So you either got to draw your line and say, I'm not moving on this, or I'm going to be flexible. You can't be both. And so if you can't be both, then realistically, you have to let that official let that ball be out, even though he's not sure, and allow him to trust the system that you told him was there and go from there. So we can't blame him, but then you can blame VAR. Now, if VAR don't make the decision, it's unfair to that linesman to say, hey, that was on you. It's completely unfair because, again, we know how fast the game goes from playing and for some officiating. It's fast. And I'm watching zones. I'm not watching every little thing. Like anybody who knows anything about officiating knows that. So I agree there should be some criticism. Absolutely should be criticism. But at the same time, if we don't know the mandate they were given and how they're supposed to officiate, we can't necessarily say they didn't do what they were supposed to do. If they did what they were supposed to do, we just don't know. But I agree. The ball went out because it looked like it was out. First time I saw it, thought it was out. Then the push. I'm like, did he foul him? Both of them. I agree with you, but I'm just taking the other side just for giggles.
Yeah, but also I definitely hear what you're saying, and it's kind of a culture that VAR has created with the players as well as with the referees. But as far as my criticism of the center ref, he also, just like Michael Oliver today, did not control the emotion of the game. Yeah. If he sends Bruno off, Kai never goes flying in crazy like that.
And if Kai doesn't go flying in crazy like that, it doesn't ensue the 4 other yellow cards that proceed to exist.
Yeah, I mean, so if
from this,
that's just my point about doing your job. If you
not bar.
Yeah, if from the beginning you keep a lid on those kinds of things and control the game from the beginning, then you could avoid the farce we saw today between Chelsea and Spurs. You know, you can just have a lid on it from the beginning, and the referees.
I mean, in a game like this,
they're a team. They should be working to get it right together. I agree that it shouldn't take forever, but I also think that there's so many easy solutions, and they're just not willing to do them. I think they're all making, maybe not the referees, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's they're all in it together. And when they're looking out for each other, the integrity of the game is compromised because that's second priority instead of making sure. And from that perspective, I understand that when you're standing in St. James's Park and the crowd is expecting you to give them a goal and you are like, go to the monitor, and you're told to go to the monitor or whatever, and you give the little thing, the whole crowd's going to be like going, you mother,
Mhm.
screaming, abusing you. And so like if you go up to the monitor and, you know, the people right there in the stands by the monitor are yelling abuse and you better get this goal, you piece of, you know, and so when the guy in Stockley Park's like, I really don't want my mate to have to go through that, you know. So like I understand. I think it's despicable.
It's the job.
It's despicable, but I understand. And Patrick, I will say this: as much as I think the referees are absolutely trash, I think that one part of helping to raise the standard could be to pay them more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That creates accountability in itself.
They shouldn't be making less.
It's counterintuitive because I hate them. I think they're awful, but there's more incentive for them to be better and raise their own standard if they're
making less than the actual minimum for a paid player's salary in the Premier League. There's no
it's well below that. Are you kidding me?
No excuse for them to be making below the minimum bench warming.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I understand we're never gonna scrap VAR. We're never going back.
No, we'll never go back.
And I think that the referees are such a hugely important part of the game. We have to figure out a way as fans to come together with the referees, with the PGMOL, and be like, look, we all want the same thing. We all want to protect the integrity of this game. We all love this game for the same reasons. We need to come together as fans, coaches, managers, players, referees, higher ups, owners. Everyone needs to come together and remember why we love the game.
Yep.
And to find the integrity of the game again. It's the same thing when you obey the letter of the law and ignore the spirit of the game, ignore the spirit of the tackle. That's what I'm talking about, how Arsenal don't deserve to win, but we don't deserve to lose. Bruno deserves to be sent off because of all of his antics. You know, Kai Havertz probably deserves to be sent off because of the collection of everything that he's done. You understand this when you've played the game.
Yep.
You understand the spirit of the game when you know, okay, Udogi's challenge was dangerous and reckless. You can tell, you can just see when you're in it, when you're there, you know. And so I feel like we just have to.
Man, I think
it's frustrating.
Now that we have this technology, we've showcased it. Like, here's where I'm at with it, right? Now that we've showcased we have this technology and every goal has to be right, like this is just not the nature of the game for me. Limit it to coaches or managerial challenges. I don't think that goal should have been allowed because my homie got pushed in the box. Give him 3. Just like if you want to Americanize the sport, give him 3 challenges. We have the technology to overturn an on-field decision. That should be the limit. And then everything else from the full 90 is free flow. How the ref called it, how's he called it? Do you have a problem with that? No. Do you have a problem with that? No. Okay, here we move on.
I hear you, but I feel like that's going to create longer checks.
I would rather 3 longer checks than every 15 minutes of the game today being stopped, paused, review, sit.
But you're thinking about potentially 6 long checks.
I mean, give him one.
So you've got one for every 15 minutes.
I don't care. I don't care what the number is.
Well, I'm just saying. And
I was hard to sit through as a player.
Yeah,
it's hard to sit through.
Well, I mean, I'll go back to today's game. You know, the one with Caicedo's goal. Like, we're looking at inches.
Yeah.
You know, inches.
And how's the consistency, man? This again, we can get looped into this all. We'll have a whole segment on this.
I mean, if it's a clear foot off, it's a clear foot off. That I mean,
The
if Dyer
Caicedo
was
goal gets
close to
recalled,
being
but
on, then
Cities
I say
doesn't.
give him the goal.
But Cities doesn't get recalled. He's standing in front of a keeper, and it literally almost deflects off of him. But jumps out. Kanji jumps out the way, and they allow that. But Jackson's literally just because he was. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, there is no consistency, but you're right. We will get caught up. We've gotten to 2 games. We're already an hour and a half in. It's been it's definitely been great conversation, but we have to get to just one of the biggest story of the weekend. Erling Haaland hooked at halftime. What a bum.
It killed my fantasy team, man. Absolutely killed it this week.
I mean, it's a crisis for City. Erling Haaland not scoring goals. Definitely gets hooked at halftime. He's in trouble. What are you saying, Lewis? He's in a lot of trouble. It was a real tough 6-1 victory over Bournemouth, over just stiff opposition.
They got some young superstar to fill in on the goal tally.
Well, the interesting thing is I have very few comments on this game because, I mean, it was really never in doubt from the off. I mean, the funny thing is with that you just saw on the wing where just Doku, when Doku starts, he starts like that all the time. And he just Pep has given him license to kind of go at people that way. And so you kind of look at that and say, well, he's just going to go at guys that way. And I mean, Bournemouth they're below the level. I mean, I'm not going to bash on them. I mean, they're in 18th place. They're negative 18 goals. We didn't really help their goal differential.
Well, you put a third of that is you guys.
Well, and it's funny because the thing is, I think the thing that was in the mentality is that City understood that goal differential really mattered, which is why they went for the 6. The one goal they scored, they just turned off, and that shouldn't have happened. It gives Pep something to complain about. I liked how Stones played. Doku was good, but Silva was amazing. I mean, he played really, really well.
In spite of myself, I'm a Bernardo Silva fan. You know this.
And he played really well. And the thing is that I mean, they're looking forward. They're trying to get the team back to full health. Grealish will probably jump on here since he didn't play any in this game. And you let guys grow into the system. I mean, it kind of is what it is, I mean, I don't have a ton. I mean, City did what they were supposed to do against them. I mean, yeah, it was what it was. And Doku was good that he got the 4 assists, even though I think he thought he had 2 goals, but hit a Kanji. Was it Kanji?
Hey, if I'm a Kanji, I'm going, yeah, baby. That's my goal, baby, all day long.
It is. He got the goal.
Texas claiming that goal all day.
Yeah, that was his first goal. That's his first goal.
Like, yeah, I meant to throw my back out like that.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't do that, the keeper probably saves it. But
that's fair.
It's City did what they needed to do. Haaland looks like he's fine. And, it looks like he probably just tweaked something, but he practiced today. So, all is well. Champions League on Tuesday.
He'll play tomorrow for sure.
It appears that City is on top of the table. So I'll take it.
Yeah, it's just kind of normal service resumed, eh?
Oscar Bob played well, too. I like that guy. Like the young guys we have playing, I really like it. Calvin Phillips looked decent. Rico Lewis looked good. Bob looked good. Nunez, who was it? Kova. Like the one shot he had at goal, he's really slow, man. Like I knew he was slow, but he's really slow.
Another Chelsea plant. Chelsea plant. Just they're out there, man. They're just growing weeds in every club they can get their claws into, man.
I'm telling you, we should have a segment of which Chelsea player scored for another club this week, because It's insane. Like you start looking at it and you're like, oh, he's an academy guy.
Which Chelsea player sabotaged another team this week?
Well, I will say City is starting to get there because Luton's equalizer or Luton's goal was assisted by a City product. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
I mean, at one point, seriously, they changed the loan rules in terms of players playing.
You had like 90 players on loan.
You had all the players.
We
Chelsea
own everyone.
Every player, yeah.
We own everyone, but y'all pay their wages. But then we get to say who they
We actually hold the contract on all players in the league. Chelsea automatically win the cup because their players can't play against them in the cup.
Once a blue, always a blue, baby.
I do want to speak on the fact that Bournemouth played like a super low block. They haven't done that this season. I was actually surprised at how deep they were playing, and I get it.
We had talked about that.
You can't play that negative against City and expect anything less.
Yeah, but
that's where I'm at with that. Like
it's Bournemouth, though, man. They
shouldn't have played them so.
Tell me.
Play your game.
In your heart of hearts, be real. It's worse if they played the way they played against Arsenal. They were open against Arsenal. They tried to play against Arsenal. City are better than us. It'd be worse. It would have been worse.
There would have been 10 for sure.
It would have been so bad, so bad. But
Speaking of blocks, though, how about Luton?
Yeah, hey, segues are weird. We'll go ahead and kick it
Cinderella.
on. This game right here just goes to show you that I could not predict a score to save my life.
If you put the bet in, I want to see the odds on the 1-to-1 before the game.
I mean, that's
a bet on that is just rolling in it right now.
It's a huge point for them, though.
It is. It's also a great moment. Also a great moment to pop this up. Show the results of the weekend. Nice. Speaking of how awful my predictions are, X creeping up on me. He's creeping up.
All my picks are hard picks. So don't let me catch you.
That's what I'm saying. How is X catching me up with all heart picks? That's all he does. Is Chelsea win the league? Come on.
How do my picks help my boys go up the table? That's all I pick.
But yeah, I was like, just like everybody, I was stunned by Luton's energy. I don't think Liverpool expected it. I was surprised. The longer this game went on, I was like, are Liverpool going to kick on? Or are you guys going to kick into gear? Or what's going on here?
They played down. It's the classic Chelsea play down, man. We know this. We know this song better than anyone else in the league.
I was really surprised because when a team does that and surprises you, you think it's low block FC, but then they come out and they try to play you. I feel like Poole should have been like, oh yeah. All right.
I mean,
because they spent all prepping for this to be like,
But that Nunez miss, man,
bro,
man.
Noodles. That's why we call him Darwin.
That is the Darwin noodles we know and love. Oh my God. I don't think that might be his worst one. He had some shockers when he first got there last season, but this one might be the worst of the bunch.
As someone who is used to watching somebody miss an absolute sitter, that was bad.
I mean, Romelu Lukaku stood up and clapped at that one. He stood up and applauded after that one. Good grief. It's so crazy with Nunez because it just kind of looks like he's like, if he could beat three guys and then completely whiff one, or then he could beat three guys and then rip the back of the net off. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what noodle are we getting today? Is it an udon noodle? Is it a ramen noodle? What noodles is showing up today? But it baffles me because there's clear quality. He's clearly got an eye for goal, and when he's on it, he's smashing them in. But then you're gonna miss this one. Hey, but credit to Luton, man. You got to give him credit. There was for a moment there, dude. For a moment there, I was like, they've won the game. They're gonna win the game. They're gonna beat Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, it was time wasting FC as soon as they went ahead. But I mean, you'd only expect that. I feel that the Morris guy they got up top, he's like a half price Sterling in that he does a lot of things really well before he gets in front of the goal, and then in front of the goal, it's just woeful. It's just woeful. And, I've been really, Luton just don't have anyone to score. But they really showed what just having an energy and a mentality can do to anyone. Because that
stadium, as small as it is, it's like a bandbox, man. There's nowhere to hide.
That whole game they were talking about, Luton's whole squad cost $10 million. Liverpool's squad cost $680-something odd million.
That's what they pay Mo Salah per year. Right?
And that's one thing I love about the Premier League is that on any given day, if you're not on it, if you ain't up for it, Luton are going to take points from you.
Yep. Yeah. And that's going to be a big point for them, man. I have a feeling
so massive.
That might keep them up.
That was the point that kept. We're 11 games in. They got a long way to go.
So do the other 4.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of, let's see, who should we move on to? Burnley. We'll go ahead and look at Burnley, and then we'll go to Sheffield afterwards. What's going on, Lewis? My man Vinny is struggling hard.
They're not adapting at all, man.
No.
They're not adapting at all.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, he's going to have to at some point. He's going to have to change it up.
Have to. I'll put it like that. Someone. Might not be him.
Surely not already.
You think he makes it to January?
I think they give him the January window. But he has to show something. I mean, if you look at what's coming in January, right? Not in December, like for the Boxing Day fixtures, you got to get something out of there. Because if you're looking at the fixtures here, they play
Arsenal next. They're at Arsenal next.
Yeah, they're gonna lose that. They expect that. But they play Sheffield, they play Wolves, Brighton, who's out of form, Everton, Fulham. Like, they got to get something out of those. Like,
they have to, yeah.
They got to get at least 6 points. At least 6. If they don't get 6 out of those, he's done.
You got to beat Sheffield. I mean, at the very least, have to beat Sheffield.
And who's at the bottom? Is it Sheffield at the bottom?
They're at the bottom. Burnley are rock bottom. Because Sheffield were gifted a game. Gifted the win.
On floor with them.
Oh, okay. The goal difference.
Sheffield should lose to Brighton. I mean, even though I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they're not. Sheffield's bottom on goal.
So, it's just it's the bottom 4.
It's rough, man. They definitely need to find a goal scorer. That's for sure, and figure out how to. They need somebody in there to stop a break, to stop a fast break. Looks like Lewis's internet is finally cracked out.
I was waiting for it.
But yeah, speaking of Everton and Brighton, huge result again for Everton at Goodison at home versus Brighton. More VAR controversy. Lots of calls in this one. Again, Brighton, man, struggling to finish once again. I think this is another example of they were just surprised at how energetic the Everton counter was. how this was a basketball match. Classic Brighton match, back and forth, and they were not expecting Everton to go toe to toe with them like that. Is what I think happened. They were just expecting to put it on them and have all the ball, and Everton to sit deep. And while they were deep, they capitalized really well on a lot of Brighton mistakes. And if Everton were better finishers, they might have done better, to be honest with you, in this one. But Calvert-Lewin, another good goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think unfortunately for my preseason predictions, Everton are looking up for Everton. They got a 5-point gap on Luton.
Yeah. Again, massive point for Everton. It's a massive man. Brighton are on this.
Where are you start asking questions about Brighton?
For me, man, Brighton's on a free fall.
Well, I mean, it's not really questions. They let everybody go. It's catching up to them. You can't let everybody go and just expect it, because the reason they were able to be where they are is because they had depth, and they had, like, these guys that are starting right now would have been in here spelling the guys that would have normally been starting. But now you don't have anybody to spell them. So now
you got Billy Gilmore being your deep line playmaker.
I mean,
he's been good though. He's actually been decent. He's been decent.
Should he be starting for a Premier League side?
For Everton, maybe, but not for Brighton. Not where
Brighton
they're not
spending some money.
Right, that's January what I'm saying. Not for where Brighton have shown themselves to be able to perform. Again, maybe it's one of those. Again, last season's one of those enigmas for me, man. I feel like there was enough bad big teams for teams like Brighton to shine, and they just kind of caught the light in the right time.
I don't know. I don't
see them finish. I don't see them finishing. I don't. The injuries are starting to pile up. The form's starting to slip. They have a massive workload coming ahead of them.
I don't know. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be just fine.
Will fix them. They'll fix it in January.
Or do you think De Zerbi's checked out because he knows he has an international position?
No, there's no way. De Zerbi's not going anywhere.
And not to a national team.
Definitely not to a national team. No, he's in it. He's in it for sure. I think there's just, they're just in a rough patch for sure. They did beat Ajax, but Ajax might get relegated. They're awful this season. So yeah, I think
they want the bald fraud back.
Yeah, they definitely do. And once again, segues are very, very weird.
I got a lot of mine.
Yeah, you're on it, man, for sure. Manchester United have traveled to Fulham, and put in a typical Man U performance this season.
I wanted to go through my television, and while they're all shaking hands, I wanted to slap every single one of those Fulham players right in the face. To give this game away, to gift these 3 points away.
Yeah, Man U were poor.
With a I'm talking about it's the new home basket you send to your neighbor with the wine and the cheese with the bow, and it's all wrapped up nice and pretty. They just gifted them 3 points.
X, wait a minute. Wait. Now, do you really want to be mad at them because we were really close to Ten Hag getting the sack? They have to win one so they can keep them. So, long story, it keeps Ten Hag in place.
I'm mad at both.
No, but we keep the Ten Hag. We need him there.
No, Louis, I want Graham Potter at United. No, because
Potter in. He's Potter in now.
He's very Potter in.
I want Hog out. I'm Potter in.
This one is it's same old. It's same old. It's a rescue job.
Just a touch of class. Right at the end of the
one
game,
moment. Just one moment.
Oh my.
For me, what kind of irks me about this is that Bruno was particularly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly poor in this game, even by the low standard that I have for him. In my opinion, he was really, really poor and somehow gets the man of the match. because he has one shot that goes through people's legs and the keeper can't see it. Leno's played well. Leno's played very well this game, but the men in front of him let him down.
Yep.
Big time.
Huge Copenhagen fan coming on Wednesday, man. I want some justice.
It's gonna be rough, dude. It's I don't expect anything different. And like Maguire and Evans, that's the horse you're riding, Ten Hag. Straight to hell, apparently. Because it's these scraping through. We saw what happens when you come up against real teams.
Yep.
When you're trying to scrape things, and it's not good enough. And I'm just shocked. I'm still a little in shock at how bad Man U really are. And it really irks me that they continue to get these
stupid results.
One moment games, just like the and every time it's like the quality of their one goal, just this one moment is like, you guys can't continue to reproduce this. The Dallo goal, the Bruno goal versus
the
McTominay craziness.
Double,
like,
right? The last yeah. Oh my
you
god.
can't keep doing this. There's no way. It's the same thing we were saying about Spurs last season. It's like, you can't keep doing this.
It's magic.
All the way to fourth place.
The way to fourth place. Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm really worried about Fulham. They're not good. They're really not, man. They're.
Do you think that they overperformed for being a newly promoted club from where they were? Like, do you think that that's the problem? Is they hit this bump with Willian and Mitro, and they had a good season?
I don't think they overperformed. Pereira and Paulinho are quality players, man.
Yeah.
And Mitrovic is a monster.
Was or is.
And so them losing Mitrovic was, I mean, it seems like low-hanging fruit, but that's what's happened.
You know, my question is, I thought Aston Villa was good. I really thought Aston Villa was good. How are you going to lose the Forest 2-0?
Segues are weird. Good one.
Yeah,
Good one.
No.
That was classic.
This messed
classic.
up all of our predictions. No one got this.
How?
No one got this.
How?
Because you know what? Lewis? We've been there. I know how. I know how. We've been there. It's just
they gave him an early goal.
You play down and give him an early goal, man.
You just can't give Forest a goal in the 4th minute at home.
Yeah, especially at home.
They're just going to sit on it. They're going to sit on it like a golden goose.
Villa needs space.
Yep.
Villa's tactics need space. They're really great when it's an open kind of game. And they can counter you can counter them, back and forth. They're very deadly in that case. When they have to break down a low block, like most teams, they struggle a bit. And they didn't even put in enough energy to say that they tried. I was surprised. Again, once again, I feel like they were surprised that Forest were so on it from the get, scored the early goal, and
smacked them.
Just didn't look back. Yeah. It was the pace down the wings that surprised them. Anthony Alenga is he's having a decent season. He had a really good game in this one, for sure. Awanyi was back. Awanyi, my man.
Awanyi.
He was back. So that's good news for Forest. But yeah, I couldn't believe this one.
That tandem and Gibbs White also, like that trio, they can put a lot of pressure on teams.
Yes, they do.
Forest are going to be fine, man. Like I kind of had my doubts about Forest a little bit earlier in the season and coming into this season about how bad are they going to be in a relegation battle. Like they're going to be fine. They're going to finish mid-table, comfortable. Yeah. They're going to be fine.
Currently 13th. Yeah, they'll be just fine.
Well,
it's interesting to me who they choose to press and who they choose to sit back against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pressing like madmen in this game.
Yeah, so like Wolves losing is, but
It was a crazy weekend, man.
Losing is just part of the enigma that is Wolves.
Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about this game, man. Okay, I don't know if because I actually watched the full 90 of this today, so it's fresh. I watched it earlier before the Spurs game. It's this one was definitely Wolves couldn't break down the low block, and it went 0-0 for the longest time, and
late game.
yeah, and man, the goal. Cameron Archer's goal was dirty. It was one of those things where they've won the ball and it's in the transition and he's ahead of the defenders. He's got a breakaway, but he knows he's going to be caught. It's not straight on, right? They're running at an angle and he knows he's going to get caught. So from the top of the 18, he rips one off the underside of the crossbar. Hell of a goal. And I thought it was deserved. At the time, Sheffield came out from halftime and were the better team. Surprisingly, were really pressing, had lots of energy.
It's the way they answered for me. Like, I thought Wolves were I thought that woke them up a little bit. I was like, okay, well, then Wolves are going to get back into this game. And then they were okay with the 1-1, and it cost them.
I mean, I think they kind of went for it a little bit after they got their goal back. This penalty in the 97th minute, is one of the softest penalties I've ever seen. So once again, VAR has influenced this game just incredibly so. The kid was in tears. Fabio Silva, the guy who gave the pen, he was in tears afterwards. And I'm pretty sure it was from frustration because I saw this one and this one is so there's very minimal contact. His toe is kind of dug into the ground right next to the dude's foot.
He pulls back to not.
It's so weird. It's such a weird kind of moment, and he's kind of pulling back a little bit, but they gave the pin.
He knew he wasn't going to beat the ball by clicking around him. He knew he wasn't going to get the foot around him because of the speed. So he pulls back to do the right thing. To do the right thing as a defender, to do the right thing and give the offender his right to the pass.
Well, the forward was already going down.
And exactly.
The forward was already falling.
Because he saw him commit to that challenge to come in. As a forward, I'm going to be like, oh,
I'm going down too.
I'm going down too.
The thing is,
see ya.
If I'm going to do it, and I mean, he half butted it, right? Like, because he went and then he was, I hate to live in the thing. It's either you do it or you don't, right?
Don't get caught between two minds.
Either you do it or you don't.
Commit.
So either you just go and you stand the guy up, and if he falls, that now if they call a pen against you. But as soon as he stepped in, he was going to go. So you gave the referee enough.
Yeah, so it was I hear you.
But he should have went. It's either go or you don't. Go all the way or you don't.
I hear you. It's a tough one. But
it's not enough contact. Again, VAR got it wrong for me because there's just not enough contact, man. Like
it's definitely not.
See here, but wait. But then we said earlier about the elbow, and the elbow wasn't enough pressure, right? I mean,
well, this is different because there's not a lot of contact. There's not a lot of actual contact. It's not a question of degree or force. It's a question of any contact.
But here's the thing. If he stuck his foot out and he stops, because I'm watching it now, and either he goes or he doesn't. When he stopped, the guy who was still falling, he was aided in his falling by his foot being directly in front of his. So it actually caused him to fall.
I see what you're saying.
So either you go or you don't. Because if he doesn't do that, then the guy falls on his own.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
It's another tough one, and it's definitely a sore one for Wolves to take. Massive Massive victory, 3 points for
This
Sheffield, though.
this might keep them out of the box.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They still have a neg 24 goal difference.
Bottom now.
But as
21 goal difference.
As we said on Thursday, when y'all, of course, doubted that they would win.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
There you go.
But no,
There you
seriously.
go. He called it.
But seriously, no. This was their chance. And, you got to do whatever you can when you get these kind of chances. And,
The pin, by the way.
That was strong.
Did you see the penalty? Holy
Laser.
crap.
Yeah.
Lasered.
That was like
Amelia
going in or
Romanov-
it's going out of the stadium.
You go all the way or you don't go.
There you go. Hey, credit the captain, Ollie Norwood, stepping up, ripping the corner of the net.
2 ice.
Absolute
right
incredible.
Wasn't Pedro Neto out for Wolves in this one? He's out for a while.
Yes, he was. I think he was. Yeah, I don't think he played.
There you go. That's. I mean, without him, they're not going to break down a low block.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought that Wolves didn't attack the wings enough. It was interesting. We attacked the wings all day and scored 5 for Sheffield. But yeah, interesting. Huge win for the Blades. That leaves us with one more game, and it was an absolute barnstormer, barn burner of a game at the G-Tech Stadium. The Bees and the Bubbles.
Popping bubbles, baby.
Yo, this game was epic. This game was fantastic. Amazing advert for the league.
Teams.
Yeah, this is the Premier League. If you don't watch the game or follow the league, this is the game to watch.
Surprisingly, not a whole lot of referee controversy. I think there was a couple of moments, but compared to some of the other ones, but this one was, I mean, there were some goals in this game, dude. Some bangers in this one. How Arsenal haven't scooped Kudus? What are we doing? How Chelsea didn't scoop Kudus? What are y'all doing? I'm surprised that City weren't even in for Kudus.
So
kids got it.
That there was an interview with his fiance, wife, girlfriend, some significant other, and she said that he called her and said that they were off to Chelsea, and then the next day West Ham is announcing it.
Well, he probably was walking up to Stamford Bridge, and the West Ham fans across the street grabbed him, brought him into the London Stadium.
It was his paperwork in the files with Ziyech, who was supposed to go to PSG, so they just delivered the wrong briefcase. He's like, wait, this isn't my name. Oh, well, I guess I'm back off to London.
Here
I go.
Oh my goodness! But
yeah, that goal by Kudus is
yeah,
nice.
It's like a half bike.
Bangs.
Scissor kick, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But
I'm going back to watch it now.
Credit Brentford in this one. I mean, this was a basketball game. This truly was a back and forth. Lot of good quality possession in this one. Yeah, just an enjoyable watch. And Brentford come away with the win at home. Brentford resurgent on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah,
looks like the Blues boosted them.
I mean, even for this, right? We tend to do that to teams, so it's
there
okay.
You go.
Even to claw. My thing about Brentford in this game was to claw their way back into winning this game.
Well, they went up and then down.
Go up and then to get smacked twice, and then to have the fight to get 2 more in you. But like you said, man, all of them were quality. The possession was quality. The back and forth was.
Brian and Mbomo. Mbomo's looking good. I know they've missed Tony, but dude's got 6 goals, I think. 6 goals already. 6 or 7 goals. He's killing it.
Well, they're going to make money off of Tony, so they'll find somebody to fill that roster out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they might just stick with Wissa and Mbomo up top. It's doing work this season. Doing work. Absolutely. Yeah, so big win for Brentford. West Ham on a bit of an interesting week for West Ham. Beat us in the League Cup, progress, and then can't manage to get it past Brentford.
Well,
but hey,
I know this. I saw this on Friday after we made predictions. Paqueta and Alvarez were both out for
Missing.
suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think that was the deciding factor by any means, but when you're missing a petulant child, Paqueta, you never know what might happen.
I definitely thought as a result, you could see Brentford had more comfort and control in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but no, I mean, this is a great result for Brentford and deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So they're looking good. Thomas Frank got him cooking again, I suppose. Neil Maupay scores a goal.
Yeah.
It's not something he does.
No, it isn't. Unless it's Chelsea.
Hey, credit to him, man. It's like his first goal in 40 games or something crazy. Hey, he's about to go on a tear. Look out, it's the new Tony. All right, enough of that. We're not gonna get too crazy here at the end of the show, but we definitely have gotten to all the games. It was an absolute madness in the Premier League, and we loved it.
Thoughts?
Champions League thoughts? Yeah, we get a little Champions League segment. A massive game for the Arsenal at home to Sevilla. Pretty much win the game, and we top the group. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough to bounce back after the loss, but we have shown that we can do that. So I'm looking forward to it. We play Wednesday. Definitely going to be tough. They desperately need the win. So they'll be gunning for it. And no Jesus is an issue. He pretty much ran the game versus Sevilla last time. So
I was going to mention that about when we were talking about Arsenal versus Newcastle. Again, Eddie doesn't.
He was decent. Eddie was all right.
You think so?
I thought he played okay. He's not. I don't think he's necessarily suited to that kind of a game. He's not this big, imposing, physical forward who's going to throw his weight around. He was trying to kind of link up the play, but there wasn't a whole bunch of space, and Eddie needs space. And so I thought he was okay. I thought he definitely gave the effort, but I just we case in point, conclusion is we need to buy him in January. We need Tony. We need to buy Evan Tony. That's pretty much what it is. But massive game on Wednesday at the Emirates. We definitely have to show up. And I really hope that the fans show up and give them an atmosphere like we had to deal with in Seville and really make it really difficult for them. And I think we can get the win. I think hopefully Odegaard will be back. I've actually heard rumors that Jesus may be back. I hope we don't rush him. But it's an important game.
How does Arteta approach this?
I don't know. I mean, probably the same as we have against all big teams. Priority number one to nullify. And I won't be surprised if we see the same team from Newcastle, to be honest with you. So, I expect him to keep it the same.
Another chance.
Yeah, it'll be Georgie, Kai, and Rice. Nothing in that game that I saw from the performance makes me think he'll change anything.
Really?
Yeah, but I still think we should be able to beat Sevilla again, and that'll be really huge for us because then we can, because then 1 point wins the group. So as long as we don't lose one of the other two games, we win the group, top the group, not just advance. So winning tomorrow would be absolutely massive.
There's some good matchups tomorrow.
You got Dortmund Newcastle is tomorrow. They're gonna get a reversal of the atmosphere again, because when I asked you last week when we did a Champions League preview, Dortmund's probably the worst away day in that group. We decided. So Newcastle get a little taste of their own medicine. It could be tough.
That place is a cauldron, man.
It could be tough for them again. They've already lost Dortmund once, and they're coming off the back of even though they won the game, they had to give everything.
Well, that and you lost Dan Burn, and it just
no Votman. It's gonna be
you
tough.
Start messing with consistent lineups. You start to see some flaws in teams. So it'll be interesting on how attacks them first off, because as a Newcastle fan or player, you have to feel a little bit hard done, based on the result that happened at St. James against the same team. So, I think that they're going to be gunning for it. And the problem with that is with a back line that's kind of shuffled now, that's where, somebody like Adeyemi or whatever. Adeyemi, that's where he's going to feast. That dude, he's ridiculously.
Well, I don't know if Livramento comes in, he's and Trippier goes to the left. That's going to mean they got more speed than Dan Burn on the left hand side at least.
True. But then you've got it's not Haller. Gosh, what's his name? I'd have to look. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Hal sets them up, how they attack Dortmund, because I mean Newcastle probably should have had 3 against Dortmund, just based off of balls hitting the post or getting saved off the line or whatever it might be.
It's a wild game.
So and then of course Milan PSG. So PSG's got to go
in that same group
to San Siro.
That's a big game for Paris.
It is.
It's really a big game for both of them. Actually, they both need it.
So that's a good one. And then Celtics got to go to Atletico this time around.
Oh,
yeah.
That's going to be tough. Is City tomorrow, Lewis?
City is tomorrow too. Yeah.
Damn, I thought that was on Wednesday. Oh.
I mean, is this a rotation game? I mean, I feel like he's just going to come out and smash them and lock the group up.
Well, if you look at who they played on Saturday, Diaz didn't play, which means he'll start.
Yeah.
Grealish didn't play, which means he'll start.
Holland come off at half, he'll start.
Vardy didn't play, so he'll start. Nunez, Kova. No, Kova came on. No,
Kova came on.
Yeah. I think a lot of those guys are going to play. I think like Rico Lewis came on. I think he'll probably play in the game. It'll be rotation. I think they'll start Alvarez up front. Even though looking at this predicted lineup, they have Foden playing the 9 or a false 9, which I don't see, but I guess if that's what they guess.
Have y'all even done that at all this season?
No, but I mean, Foden knows how to play everywhere, so it doesn't matter. I mean, he played false 9 last year. No, the year before.
Yeah.
But then
should be normal.
And then
that one shouldn't be too.
And then you got United playing.
That's an interesting one.
Big game. I'm gonna
United away in Copenhagen on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Oh yeah.
You just want to see them burn. You want to see them lose, so Hog takes the sack and your boy can come in.
My boy Potter comes in, man.
And then Gala goes to Bayern, so Bayern probably should be able to lock up the league.
Bayern will wrap it up. If it's a massive opportunity, because if United beat Copenhagen at the same time Galatasaray lose, that's just massive for their position in the group.
Yeah.
But they struggled at home
against Copenhagen,
and now they got to go to Denmark, where it's going to be another one of them cauldrons.
Yep. And then
could be long day.
Berlin goes to Napoli.
Napoli should do just fine there, I feel.
And then you've got
who's Madrid got?
Braga, but at home.
Yeah, they'll walk.
That's walk.
Oh, Barcelona plays tomorrow at
Shakhtar. Yeah.
So I don't know what country that's in now. Is
It
that
says
in
here, right here, it says it's in Germany. It says they're playing in Hamburg.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's, and this is not me being salty by any means. I love Champions League, no matter that Chelsea's in it or not. But I feel like just looking at some of the teams, it's a little bit disappointing this year.
We will gladly win the disappointing tournament.
Yeah. That sounds great for Arsenal. I heard Joe Cole say. I heard Joe Cole say we're dark horses, so of course that means we're gonna win.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, Lazio's gonna win their group.
All your perennials are here though. You got your Inters and your Bayerns and your Reals.
Yeah.
Man City.
It feels like the group stage is I don't know. It feels something lacking in a way. But I think the knockouts are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, well, Arsenal are going to play Bayern.
Of course they are.
We're going to see Bayern because we have to play Kane, of course.
Tuchel, that and Tuchel. Oh man.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
And they're rested because they just got knocked out of the domestic cup, so they're only worried about.
Get out of here! Rested because of the domestic cup. Whatever.
No, I'm saying they don't have to worry about it. So all they have to do was worry about.
We got them.
And
we got them. They don't want none.
Yeah.
Kane don't want none of this.
Yeah, okay. Kane's bagging 9 goals a game right now. He don't want that.
Yeah, well, he's also going out to a third-tier German. He's also going out to a third-tier team in the cup. So good for you.
You didn't play.
Wait, I don't think he played that one.
Well,
Mueller.
Why not?
Thomas Mueller played in that one.
Muller's a vampire.
He is.
Oh yeah. Deal with Crossroads. Deal with the
Crossroads demon for sure. For sure. Yep. Well, yeah. On that note, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Champions League in the week. Looking forward to that, of course. We will be back on Thursday for the review of the Champions League and, of course, the preview of the upcoming fixtures at the weekend. A big one. Cup Chasers Derby. Chelsea play Man City at Stamford Bridge. So we'll definitely be previewing that on Thursday. But, yeah, thanks for being here, people. Thanks for listening. Get the likes up on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We've certainly enjoyed it this evening. Hope you have as well. We will see you next time and have a great night.